welcome to the first ever Major League Rugby Draft. I'm your host, Danny Wexelman, and I'm joined by lead voice of Major League Rugby, Dan Power. We are so excited to get this show started. There's been countless hours of work put into this moment, more than 400 prospects declared for this draft, and Dan, 24 lives are going to change forever.
Oh, absolutely, Danny. What an exciting night. What an exciting prospect to be a part of with you here. Our Commissioner, George Killebrew, as well, coming on. It is life-changing. Let's be honest, professional rugby wasn't in the landscape just a few years ago. Now it's here, and now these young men have an opportunity. 24 of them, like you said, will have their lives changed forever tonight.
So here's a look at what's coming up on the broadcast. The draft is 2 rounds with a total of 24 selections. We will also talk to Commissioner George Killebrew, plus have interviews with draftees and introduce you to the league's 2 newest franchises. In early March, Major League Rugby, along with the rest of the sports world, pushed pause on their season due to the COVID-19 global pandemic. A week later, it announced that all remaining 2020 matches were canceled and that the league would look ahead to 2021. We heard from players and coaches around the league.
We're in the midst of the biggest global pandemic of our generation.
In the Major League Rugby community,
we would like to recognize the heroes who continue to serve our community
through these challenging times.
To the doctors, nurses,
and emergency personnel,
to the grocery store employees, to the restaurant workers,
public transport operators, and countless others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your selfless work ethic
and your heroic efforts to ensure that we can return to play another day.
I would love to welcome Major League Rugby Commissioner George Killebrew to the show. Commissioner, this is an historical day for the league. 24 lives are about to change forever. What excites you most about the future of Major League Rugby?
Well, Danny, it is a great day for our league. Obviously, we're moving into our 4th year, and this is our first collegiate draft. And, you know, the reason that it's important and significant is it's providing a pathway now for collegiate players that may want to take the next step. And there's nothing greater than that. We've seen it in all the great sports leagues in America, and now we're following suit with Major League Rugby. So it's a really exciting day, a very meaningful day, and I'm very excited for the 24 athletes that are going to be drafted today.
Not only are we welcoming new faces to the league, we're welcoming 2 new teams to bring the total to 13, Dallas and Los Angeles. How important is growth to the league?
Well, it's hugely important. I mean, this was a great week. You know, in what's going on in America with COVID and other things, to add 2 new franchises to our league is very significant. And the Dallas launch was great. They have the #1 pick in the draft. Obviously, adding a market like Los Angeles, where youth rugby in Southern California is the hotbed for this country. So having a second franchise there to go alongside the San Diego Legion is a major, major thing. And, in this day and age where sports leagues are just trying to more or less survive in a lot of cases, Major League Rugby is not only surviving, but it's thriving and it's expanding. And I'm in talks with 4 or 5 other cities that want to join our little family. Probably, would be looking at 2022, obviously, but there's a lot of interest in being a franchise in Major League Rugby.
Everyone's eyes are on the first ever draft, and this is going to help grow the American talent pool and define a pathway for U.S. collegiate prospects. What message do you hope this sends?
Well, I hope it sends, that you used the word, and so did I. There is a pathway. If you're a youth rugby player in this country, there is now a pathway to go from youth, to an academy, to possibly a collegiate career, and then on to the professional ranks, just like there is in the more traditional, American sports leagues. I think it's significant. I think providing this pathway for these young men is really what it's all about. And we're delighted in year 4, going into year 4, to be able to do this.
Commissioner Killebrew, we are so grateful for your time. I'm so happy to see you, and I know that this is such a monumental day for the league, so congratulations.
Thank you, Danny. It's going to be a great day, and I look forward to congratulating all of the draft choices at the end of the day.
Coming up next, it's time to announce the selections in the 2020 Major League Rugby Collegiate Draft. History is about to be made.
We play together as one, and we stand together as one.
We refuse to stand for injustice and racism.
We stand for teamwork and we stand for action.
We are focused right now on listening, learning, and asking, what more can we do as an organisation and as the rugby community?
We want to hear from you. Email tackleracism@usmlr.com
or use the hashtag #TackleRacism on social media with your thoughts and suggestions.
We need to bind together as one sport and one community.
And make sure the playing field is level for everyone.
For everybody.
For everyone.
Everyone.
For everyone.
For everyone.
And welcome back. Take a look at your screen. This is the draft order for our Major League Rugby draft. 24 picks over 2 rounds. And you can see there's a few trades mixed in. NOLA Gold traded with the Los Angeles team to have 2 first-round picks. Utah and Dallas will have the most picks in the draft with 4. And we're also going to bring in the commissioner, George Killebrew, again now to announce the first overall pick.
With the first pick in the inaugural Major League Rugby Collegiate Draft, the Dallas Jackals select Connor Mooneyham from Life University.
All right, Dan, there we have it. Connor Mooneyham out of Life University going first overall. That's a strong pick to start off the draft, Dan. What do you like about it?
I absolutely love the pick. Connor Mooneyham, in my opinion, was the most draft-ready player out of the 400 that declared. I think building a new franchise down there in Dallas, you've got a lot of options. You know, Elaine Vassy, Alan Clark, the coaching staff, Phil Cam, the general manager, they had a lot on their plate, obviously, to digest. And I think they've made the right choice here, going with a game-ready, plug-and-play option in Connor Mooneyham.
So a new franchise, a new roster that's still being built. How impactful can Connor Mooneyham be to this new roster?
I think he's ready to go straight away, Danny. I really do. I don't think they take him at number 1 if he's not ready. I think he's going to find a little bit of time, probably in year 1, playing on the wing, just to get his feet underneath him in professional rugby. Don't be surprised, though, if he gets a little bit of time in the midfield, wearing that 12-13 jersey. He's a fantastic distributor of the ball. He's got great vision, and he takes the line on very well. Defensively, very, very happy with how he plays the game. Don't forget, he's come out of that program, Life University. Scott Lawrence, now the head coach of Rugby ATL, you know, always prided himself on discipline, on defence, on strength. Colton Cariaga, he's carried that on down there with Life University. One thing you can always guarantee, when a player is graduating from Life, they're coming out game ready, they're coming out life ready, pardon the pun, but very, very strong choice out of the gate for Dallas. I like this one a lot, Danny.
We are joined now by Connor Mooneyham, the first overall pick in the first ever Major League Rugby U.S. Collegiate Draft. And Connor, congratulations, first of all. I know this is a huge day for you and your family. We had a chance to talk earlier in the week, and you told me that back in 2016, you went and served on a mission in Argentina, and you came back to Life University with a renewed love for the game. When you found out that you were the first overall pick, what went through your mind?
I wanted to cry, honestly. I was just so excited. I'm super grateful and thankful for this opportunity.
Yeah, Connor, you're the first ever, and that's something you can be very proud of, mate. Tell us a little bit about the lead up to the draft. How was your week coming into this? How many teams contacted you leading up to the draft? And did you have a feeling that you were going to go number 1 to Dallas?
I never thought that I was going to go number 1, to be honest. Leading up to the draft, a few teams actually did reach out to me, and I really liked the professionalism of everybody, especially because the draft is brand new to everybody. You know, there's a lot of uncertainties coming into it, and everybody just helped me get through it, and so it's been great.
Yeah, it's going to a new franchise, an expansion side in Dallas. Alan Clark, Elaine Vassy down there, very, very strong rugby background. What are you looking to bring to the Dallas franchise in 2021?
I'm just super excited for Dallas in general. You know, I think it's a great city to have rugby. You know, it's a great sports city. I'm ready to just embark on this journey. I really enjoyed my conversations with Alan and with Elaine, and I'm super excited to play for them.
Connor, I know there are a lot of people who have come through your life and helped you get to where you are today. This is such a big day for all of those people as well. Who are some of the influences that have helped you get to this point?
There's been quite a few people. Obviously, I'd like to thank my parents, my sisters, my fiance for everything. Sierra Foothills, the rugby club that I primarily joined when I first started rugby. I'd like to thank all of them, all my coaches over there. You know, the Woodlands Rugby Club here in Texas, all of my coaches at Life University. You know, Dan Payne, Tui Osborne, Scott Lawrence, Colton Carriaga, all the assistant coaches. And definitely all the athletic trainers. My body wouldn't be the same without them, you know.
Well, beautiful stuff, Connor. I don't know if Scott Lawrence will be that happy as he coaches against you next year for Rugby ATL that he put all that effort into you. But very proud moment for you and your family, and definitely looking forward to calling you throughout 2021 for the Dallas Jackals, mate.
Thank you very much.
We welcome back Commissioner George Killebrew for the second overall pick in the MLR Draft.
With the second pick in the inaugural Major League Rugby Collegiate Draft, NOLA Gold selects Brian Nault from Central Washington University.
All right, Dan, second overall to NOLA Gold. He's joining an experienced team to show him the ropes.
Oh, he certainly is. Dino Waldron, Ben Tarr up front. You add in Matt Harmon, Eric Howard. That is a really great pack they have down there in New Orleans. Add Brian Nault into the mix, 6'2", 240. I don't think he's going to be 240 come week 1 next year, Danny. I think he's going to be significantly bigger. Listen to some of these stats. He deadlifted 600 pounds, squatted over 550 at his workout, 30-inch vertical jump. That is an explosive lower body, and that's what you want up front. He's going to be doing a lot of the hard work, a lot of the grinding work up front. He's going to be a big, big scrummager for them. I think this is a great pick for the future from Ryan Fitzgerald and Nate Osborne down there.
And Dan, he told me earlier this week the reason he's playing rugby is because his sister Deandra told him that rugby was harder than football. He's got a lot of hobbies. He works with wine and beer. He's got a kangaroo that we know about. He's very versatile. He does a lot of things. Why is this so important to have someone like that on your team?
Well, call the Dos Equis company. We've got the world's most interesting man going to New Orleans. And for everyone in New Orleans, get down to Cafe du Monde and buy some beignets and send them out to Brian Nault's sister for getting him into rugby, because I think they're going to be very, very thankful that Brian Nault will be wearing the gold of NOLA Gold in 2021. Just a phenomenal pick. Great young kid as well. We've had a chance, both you and I, to talk to him in the lead up to this draft. I really, really like him. I think he's going to be a great fit down there. And, you know, I can't wait to ask him what's going to happen with the pet kangaroo, though. That's the big thing for me. I want to know what happens to the pet kangaroo. Will it be hopping with him all the way to NOLA Gold?
We are now joined by the second overall pick in the draft, Brian Nault. Brian, you are headed to New Orleans. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us today. You and I had a chance to talk earlier in the week, and you told me that you get butterflies on the mornings of game day. And I'm sure that you had some butterflies this morning, too. What are you most looking forward to with this opportunity?
Thank you again for having me on here. And I could barely sleep last night. Honestly, I got about 5 hours of sleep, just thinking about what's going to happen today. And I'm looking forward to the new opportunity ahead of me, the new journey. I've accomplished my dream, my goal to get here as a professional athlete. And now it's time to work on new goals that I have in mind to achieve later on, and with the help of New Orleans and working with NOLA Gold. And I'm just excited. It's a dream come true.
Brian, you're stepping into a very young, very, very solid front row. Dino Waldron, Ben Tarr down there, Howard, Harmon. It's a great group. What are you looking to bring to the table next year for New Orleans?
Just any tools that I have, I'm going to use to help out the team, and I'm obviously going to learn from the front row that's already there and gather information from them, and trying to take that information and use it to work on the field. And I'm going to bring just attacking the breakdown and controlling the possession of the ball, work on scrummaging, and make solid platforms for the scrum so we can get good, clean ball, and just bring some mobility into the flow of the game, and
Well, Brian, the big question ever since you declared for the draft has been, will your pet kangaroo follow you where you go in Major League Rugby? Have we called the New Orleans City Council? Can Ruru make the trip down to Louisiana?
That's a good question. I don't see why not. He's harness trained. He's, even though he's 6 foot tall, but he would like New Orleans, definitely.
Brian, you started playing rugby after your sister Deandra told you that rugby was harder than football. What do you want to say to her and all of the people who have helped you get to this point in your career, being the second overall pick in the draft?
Well, sis, I would have to tell my sis that I owe you big time. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who supported me, my family, friends, all the coaching staff throughout the years. And just thank you. I couldn't be here without them.
Well, we're really grateful for your time, Brian, and we look forward to seeing you next season. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
And for the last time tonight, we welcome back Commissioner Killebrew.
With the third selection in the inaugural Major League Rugby Collegiate Draft, the Utah Warriors select Derek Ellingson from St. Mary's College of California.
Dan, this wasn't a name on a lot of boards, but this is a great value for Utah at number 3.
Great value. Couldn't have said it any better, Danny. That is exactly right with this pick. A lot of people didn't have Derek Ellingson on their board. Dig a little deeper. Do your research. St. Mary's is a hotbed for talent. Tim O'Brien, one of the best collegiate coaches in American rugby. He has an absolute splattering of talent throughout the league currently. The alumni from St. Mary's is incredible in Major League Rugby. We owe the College of St. Mary's a lot for the talent they've given us at the start of Major League Rugby. I like this pick. He's going to probably do some time behind the Whippy brothers on the wing out there. You've also got Gannon Moore, the Kansas City Blues product, playing for Utah now. A lot of talent, but he's also got a pretty good boot. The former hockey player spent a little bit of time on the ice. He developed those hockey hips, Danny, so he can move, he can shake and bake a little bit. And he's also got a good kicking game. So at altitude in Utah, look for the Warriors to use that to exit, something that they've struggled with in the first 3 years of Major League Rugby.
And Dan, we should point out that Utah decided to trade and get more picks from Houston. 4 picks in this draft. What is so important about drafting here in the United States for MLR?
Well, I think it comes down to their director of rugby, Brandon Sparks. We're going to talk to Brandon in a little bit, but he has a real eye for talent. He knows the collegiate game. He knows the talent is there. Athletically, I don't think there's a country in the world that's more talented than the United States. Brandon Sparks knows that. He's going to go find those talented players. He's going to pick them for the Warriors. They're going to coach them up. And Warriors fans, get excited. Ellingson, he is a gamer and he's playing for your team next year.
All right, 3 picks down, 21 still to go. On the clock next is Austin at number 4, Seattle at number 5, and New England at number 6 as the 2020 Major League Rugby Collegiate Draft continues on FTF.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chen Tabusi here, prop for Rugby ATL, also Eagle 531. I just want to tell you a little bit about me and my experience coming into rugby and how I came to it. I originally started playing in high school, but when I came into college, going to Lindenwood University, that's when things started really ramping up for me. I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to represent my country at the highest level. And with that being said, college really took a big step for me moving forward in my rugby career and really prepared me for what was to come here at Rugby ATL, putting me on a high foot moving forward.
Josh Brown, Old Glory, DC. My road to rugby began in college. I played 8-man for Salisbury University for 4 years. And college rugby helped me to understand the type of sacrifice and work ethic required not only for rugby, but for anything that you care about to perform at the highest level.
Kenny Scott, Utah Warriors. My road to rugby began back in college. I attended Kansas State University. At the time, I was walking on for the football team, and I had an old acquaintance, I guess, who's now one of my best friends, come up to me while I was working out and tell me after I didn't make the team to come give rugby a try. So came out to practice later that week, stuck with it, and here I am today.
My road to rugby began in Naples, Florida. I played for the Naples Bears. It was a high school level club, and from there I went on to play college football, and then restarted my journey 3 years ago when the US MLR started, and the rest is history.
My advice to the draftees would just be to enjoy every moment, and if you're fortunate enough to sign with one of the teams, put all the hard work you can into it and good things will happen.
My advice to draftees is to stay adaptable. That's the best skill that you can learn when you're coming out of college, especially when you're on a rugby journey, is that you want to stay adaptable. You want to be prepared to move if you need to, go where you need to go to be surrounded by the people that are going to help you succeed and make you a better player.
The advice I have to the draftees, whatever team that you end up with, just show up fit, show up hungry, because I think the best thing about rookies is the energy that you guys can bring, and you can make a difference from day one. So it's hard to be confident, but if you put in the work, it'll show, and everyone will appreciate that from you.
I wish you guys the very best luck, and my advice for you is to keep your head on straight, remain humble, and any opportunity you get to continue to play footy, you take it, and you just enjoy the ride. Rugby's never forever, but the legacy you leave behind is important. Much love, guys.
My advice to the draftees would be to work just as hard off the pitch as you do on. Watch as much rugby as possible. Take advantage of every single opportunity you get, and enjoy every single minute of it. When I first signed with Old Glory DC, it was a dream 31 years in the making finally come true. So best of luck to you boys, and look forward to sharing the pitch with you.
Those were some draft memories from current Major League Rugby players. And taking a look at some of the newest to enter the league, the top 3 picks have been announced. We've already heard from number 1 overall, Connor Mooneyham, and number 2 overall, Brian Nault. Now let's talk with the 3rd overall selection. We are now joined by Derek Ellingson, the 3rd overall pick in this draft. Derek, congratulations. We are so excited and happy to have you on this show. You are headed to Utah. And for the fans who are watching at home, what can they expect to see from you next season?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. I don't really know. I'm excited to get there and just kind of see where this road keeps taking me. I've played at St. Mary's for the last 4 years, and I'm excited to continue my journey.
Derek, you had quite a journey at St. Mary's with Tim O'Brien out there as a head coach. Starting in the C team, this has been a meteoric rise to say the least. How high is your ceiling going to Utah? What can Chris Latham expect from you next year?
I think the biggest thing that kind of brought me to where I am today is just having the work ethic to continue to get better and to be the best. So if one can continue and have that work ethic kind of defined, it's what brought me from the C side to the A side of St. Mary's, and I believe it could bring me from wherever I end up to hopefully as far as I can get. I don't necessarily have any end goal or anything like that, but I'm excited to get started for sure.
Yeah, obviously, hockey background, mate. Did you ever think all those freezing cold mornings on the ice would lead you to playing professional rugby in Utah?
Definitely not, but I'm glad I'm used to the cold.
Awesome. Well, Derek, we are so excited for you again. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next season.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
All right, Dan, we've seen the first 3, and now we move along to 4, 5, and 6 in this draft, and it's going to get exciting. Let's take a look. Let's start with Louis Satama. He is going 4th overall. Austin is getting a dangerous utility back here at number 4.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, Coach Fletcher up there at AIC has done an amazing job developing talent. harnessing talent, and she's done it here with Louis as well, because not only are Austin getting a dangerous ball runner, they're also getting a very strong defender as well in Satama. He will plug in and add some depth to that midfield. Much needed depth, I might add, for the Austin Gilgronis. My Austin Gilgronis.
And we move on now to Aaron Matthews, 5th overall pick to Seattle. Dan, this is a pick that's going to cover a lot of bases for this team.
It certainly will. We saw this year, Danny, Seattle struggled out of the gate, and depth in the back line was one of the issues they dealt with. Now, Aaron Matthews, I feel the most talented rugby player in this year's draft. Seattle getting an absolute steal here at number 5 with Matthews. I love this pick.
Dan, he told me earlier this week that his best strength is going to be his hair, but he's going to have some competition, won't he?
Well, you got Vili Tolitau up there, the big smiling assassin, yeah, but great hair game from Matthews out of St. Mary's. That's a good one, Danny. He's going to do well. You better be careful. They have a pretty strong tradition in their kangaroo court sessions that involves hair. So watch those locks, Mr. Matthews.
And with the 6th overall pick, Justin Johnson is heading to New England. Dan, this is one of your favorites in the draft. Why?
Well, Mags, Josh Smith, you've got yourself an absolute winner here. Not only a great rugby player, but a great human being. I spoke to his head coach, Colton Carriaga, down at Life University. 93% of the time he touches the ball, he gets over the gain line. That tells me we've got an aggressive, dynamic ball runner, a guy who can spot opportunities and exploit them. He's going to do that in New England. He joins a great back row up there. I think him and Zach Striffler are going to be an unbelievable combination on the flanks for New England.
And where do you see him fitting in with the Free Jacks forward pack?
He's probably going to do a little bit of time on the bench year 1, just to get his feet underneath him. I think you'll find that with a lot of the players that get drafted tonight, Danny. They'll probably do a little bit of time on the bench. Some will plug in straight away and start. With Johnson, his rugby IQ needs to grow a little bit. He's a man who got 2 degrees in 4 years, so his ability to process and retain information is extremely high. He's going to have Alexander Magleby, the GM up there, Josh Smith, the head coach, and a great support staff who I really believe will get the best out of Justin Johnson. This is a really good pick. And again, it's early to say it, but I feel like this is a steal at 6.
All right, we are moving right along here. The MLR Draft. John Powers going number 7 to the Utah Warriors. Dan, do you need me to handle this one? We don't want any family arguments here.
Oh, I'm the singular power, his powers, but he's one heck of a rugby player. Let me tell you, Utah are getting a really, really good player here. Remember the trade they made with the Sabercats that involved Robbie Povey, the fullback. Powers is declared as a wing fullback. Played a lot of time at fly half for Iona and Bruce McLean, but you can see he's pushed his chips in on that fullback position. There is a need there for the Warriors. Powers could be the man to fill that void.
And Dan, the Warriors going back-to-back with their first 2 picks as backline players.
Yeah, interesting to see Brendan Sparks and Chris Latham. They're going for 2 backline players initially. But again, no one knows the college game like Brendan Sparks. Full confidence in this choice, and I really like John Powers. Like I said, Bruce McLean, a really good coach, a guy I know intimately from my playing days. Excited to see Powers out in the Warriors.
Next up, we have number 8, Michael Matarazzo to Atlanta. Dan, a name that wasn't on many expert boards, but Atlanta saw something special to take him 8th overall.
Yeah, Matarazzo, M squared, Michael Matarazzo, they call him. But he will go to Rugby ATL. Johan Momsen, one of the big locks down there from South Africa, will be a great study for him. I am hearing, though, from people that he will defer next year and he's going to go overseas. So Rugby ATL playing the long game here with that pick. I like it. Super talented athlete. Played a lot of baseball growing up, but big boy, can move around the field really, really well. Rugby ATL, Scott Lawrence, they're going to have a winner when he gets back.
And Atlanta's defense, which was their highlight in 2020, Dan, gains another valuable asset.
Yeah, like I said, he gets around the field incredibly well for a man his size. Defensively, he needs to fill out a little bit. They'll get him on a good weights program when he heads overseas. He'll come back a more developed rugby player, I'm sure. And Scott Lawrence, he is the master of making something out of nothing, and he has more than nothing in Matarazzo. He has a big something to work with here. That is a big lump of clay for Scott Lawrence to mould.
And with the 9th overall pick, Dallas chooses Tommy Clark. Dan, another highly ranked prospect on your board going to Dallas.
Second player out of AIC in the draft, which is a great pick. Again, credit to Coach Fletcher up there. What a job she has done in getting this side and her players ready for professional rugby. I called Tommy Clark Slash during the week, the old Cordell Stewart reference, because he's a little bit of everything. Plays a bit of back row, he can play a bit of centre. Wouldn't be surprised to even see him on the wing for the Jackals at some point. You've just got to get him out there. He's a rugby player. Get him on the field, get the ball in his hands, he'll make something happen. He spent the summer playing a little sevens as well. Great athlete, great rugby player, great pick for the Jackals, their second pick.
Dan, you mentioned versatile. Where is Alan Clark going to use Tommy Clark next year?
Oh, I like the synergy, the two Clarks getting together there. That's, I kind of just alluded to. I'm not too sure, Danny. I really don't. I think he'll get down to Dallas. He'll spend some time with Alan Clark, Elaine Vassy, the coaching staff down there, and they'll try to figure out what's best for Tommy and what's best for the Dallas Jackals. And that's going to be a good problem to have because, like I said, you're getting a very, very talented rugby player coming to Dallas.
And with the 10th pick in the MLR draft, NOLA Gold selects Andrew Guerra. Dan, he's one of the smaller forwards in this year's draft, but that didn't stop Ryan Fitzgerald from choosing him.
Yeah, the Flying Falcon from Notre Dame College. For rugby fans, think Michael Hooper, the Australian Wallaby and Waratahs player. Good things can come in small packages. A little undersized, but Guerra is an absolute ball hound. He will get out there, get aggressive. Pretty good ball in hand too. For NOLA Gold fans, when you lost Zach Striffield, lost that guy in the forward pack who was going to get after possession, be a nuisance at the breakdown, you could have the solution in Andrew Guerra.
And Dan, he's going to look to break into an established back row in New Orleans.
Yeah, that back row is very impressive, but it's also quite big. They're very good at running the ball. They're very good at defending. But Zach Striffler going to the Free Jacks last year was a big loss for NOLA Gold. And I think Ryan Fitzgerald and Nate Osborne recognised that early on this season, and this is the adjustment they've made. They've gone out and they've got a high-class, high-character player who's going to come in and compete from day one. Again, another strong pick from the boys down in NOLA Gold.
And with the 11th pick in the MLR draft, Old Glory DC selects Casey Renaud. Dan, this guy is 6'8", one of the biggest players in the draft, and Old Glory have a real line-out target now.
Oh, my neck already hurts from looking up, having to talk to Casey next season when he plays for Old Glory. Yeah, 6'8", big boy. Something that's been missing is tall locks, especially American-born tall locks. And Casey Renaud ticks that box significantly. He'll join Appy Nakatini there in that lock. He's got Fiona Schultz behind him at 8 as well, and Mungo Mason. He's going to have some really good leaders around him at Old Glory. He'll do really well there on Andrew Douglas's side.
Absolutely. I talked to him earlier in the week, and he was excited. He was ready. And listen, Dan, we mentioned he's a big guy. He's 240 pounds-ish. How is he going to handle the physicality of professional rugby?
Yeah, 240, you wouldn't say that's a small person by any stretch, but at 6'8", that's distributed pretty evenly. That's a big frame. So he's probably going to have to put on some size. I don't think it's beyond him. Everything I've heard out of Kutztown, it's going to be a guy who comes out willing to put in some hard work. He's going to be tough. He's going to be rugged. And he knows he's going to have to put in some work, and he'll do it. It's a good pick for Old Glory. And like I said, looking forward to seeing that line out in 2021.
We move on with the 12th overall pick. Patrick Madden is heading to San Diego. He's going to finish out the first round, Dan, and a San Diego, he's going local to them with their first pick.
Yeah, nice little bit of versatility. It's been a really strong point, the fly half position for San Diego. So interesting to see how Madden fits into Zach Test's plan down there. But he's got a good rugby pedigree. He's played for a long time. Local kid, like you said, from San Diego. Spent some time down at University of Queensland, getting a nice little education in rugby down there with the UQ program. So they've seen something in him they like to pick at number 12 and round out the first round for the Legion. So interesting to see where Madden fits into Zach Test's plan.
And San Diego's midfield has been one of its strong points the last 2 years. What do you think Zach Test is looking for in Madden?
That's a great question. You know, you've gone from Joe Peterson to Lukey Burton. You've had JP Duplessis as an absolute steadfast for that midfield. Ma'anonu this year. So Madden's going to come in with a bunch of quality players playing in positions he wants to play. Osmosis, Danny. That's going to be a catchword here, osmosis. And he is going to learn from these players and potentially be a long-term solution in that midfield for the Legion. Another great pick.
Dan, the first round is in the books. The second round is on deck. The remaining 12 picks of the 2020 Major League Rugby Collegiate Draft are coming up next here on FTF.
Hey Justin, how you doing, man? It's Patrick Chung, owner of the Free Jacks, and I just want to personally say congratulations on being the 6th pick, man. You know, we're very excited to have you. Smart kid, 2 bachelor's degrees, you know, very powerful, physical. You know, that's the kind of guys we need. Smart, physical players, you know, and coming here and being the first pick for us, you know, that you're coming into a brotherhood, coming into a family, you know, from me, coaches, players, community, New England, everything. You know, we're here to be good people and good teammates and good players, you know, and staying out of trouble also. That's why we brought you here. We know you have a good head on your shoulders. We already know you can play some rugby, you know, so we're very excited to have you here, man. And, you know, I know you're excited. You know, I know my draft day. I know how it was, man. It's a lot of feelings that go in with that, you know. And I just want to personally say, you know, thank you for your work, and, you know, we appreciate you, everything you've done on and off the field, as far as academics and physically, everything, you know. So like I said, man, we're very excited to have you, and, you know, we'll see you soon, and I hope you're ready to rock. All right, I'll see you soon, man.
Welcome back to the 2020 Major League Rugby Draft. I'm Danny Wexelman. We want to take a moment to talk through the background of MLR and what has led us to here. From a high-stakes startup to hosting a collegiate draft that's drawn in talent from across the country, MLR has covered a lot of ground. Major League Rugby was founded in 2018 with 7 inaugural teams: Austin Elite, the Colorado Raptors, the Houston SaberCats, NOLA Gold, San Diego Legion, the Seattle Seawolves, and the Utah Warriors. By April 2018, professional rugby kicked off in America as NOLA Gold took on the Houston SaberCats in the inaugural MLR match. Season 1 continued to introduce rugby to North America with crucial broadcast partnerships, even from the very beginning. The gameplay was fast, hard-hitting, and thrilling, a distinctly American interpretation of the international game that had fans hooked. Many of those fans weren't even familiar with the sport before MLR, and most of them still don't understand all of the intricacies and rules, but they found themselves attached regardless. As MLR itself was an undeniable underdog in a crowded sports landscape, while also operating as a startup, it was fitting for Season 1 to feature a dark horse as its champion. The Seattle Seawolves began as underdogs on the pitch, but as they led an example of success off the pitch, with sold-out games and a growing fan base, it began to translate to wins. The Seawolves went on to win the first ever Major League Rugby Championship title in July of 2018. From there, the second season of MLR introduced 2 new teams, Rugby United New York and the Toronto Arrows, which brought the league to 9 teams in total and extended the season format to run from January to June of 2019. The extended timeline led to some severe weather and stadium issues to overcome, but the gameplay continued to step up regardless. The league saw a huge increase in foreign talent that raised the skill level on the pitch and led to more intense matchups. The standings continued to be shaken up from high-scoring matches, and the regular season left 4 teams standing for the championship series: Rugby United New York, San Diego Legion, the Seattle Seawolves, and the Toronto Arrows. 2 returners from the 2018 championship series in Legion and the reigning champion Seawolves, and the 2 new teams in Rooney and the Arrows. In the playoffs, experience ruled out as San Diego Legion won with a drop goal in the final moments of the match, and the Seawolves triumphed to book their ticket to the championship final again. San Diego was seen as the frontrunner with the top seed and home field advantage in front of a sold-out crowd. With only a few minutes remaining, San Diego kicked for a drop goal again to bring their lead to 23-19. But in doing so, Seattle had one more opportunity before time ran out. As the clock ran past 80 minutes, the Seawolves formed a driving maul and forced their way to a second championship title on the biggest stage for the league yet, with 500,000 viewers on CBS Sports. Season 3 introduced 3 new teams, brought in top talent from overseas, expanded the broadcast deals even further to include CBS Sports, Fox Sports 2, ESPN News, ESPN Plus, FTF, and an array of impressive local broadcast partners. MLR now included 12 teams across 2 conferences with the additions of the New England Free Jacks, Old Glory DC, and Rugby ATL. The season began with an unbeaten reign from the Legion, an impressive impact from the new teams, and the most thrilling back-and-forth games in MLR yet. 5 weeks in, all of that was put on pause, and MLR made the decision to cancel the remainder of the season due to the COVID-19 global crisis. Instead of shutting down operations, however, the league quickly shifted to a virtual competition hosted on Twitch. Players from every MLR team competed in a Rugby 20 video game tournament, and they even invited some other professional athletes from the NFL and NBA to take part. While Season 3 came to an early end, the progress of MLR was still ramping up. As the first 3 seasons were for developing the foundation, the next phase is for cementing a position in the professional sports landscape of North America. The league is expanding once again to 13 teams and welcoming the Dallas Jackals and LA Giltinis, adding the Collegiate Draft to serve as a further pathway to professional rugby, and working towards youth rugby initiatives with all teams. MLR has continued to prove that fans are falling in love with rugby because of the duality it offers. For some, it's the intensity, physicality, and speed of the game that get them hooked. For others, it's the communal celebration after every match where players and fans from both teams come together to mingle over food and drinks. And for others, it's the ability to be coached by a professional rugby player in the afternoon, and then later that same day, cheer on their mentor taking the pitch themselves. Major League Rugby has come a long way in 3 years, and it's only the beginning. All right, so here is the order for the second round of the draft. Dallas has the first selection of the round, just as in round 1, followed by Los Angeles making its first ever selection. Utah will be at 15 in a pick acquired from Houston, Dallas at 21 in a pick that was part of the same trade that got them the 9th overall pick earlier. And then LA again at 22, also via trade. So, Dan, we saw some no doubt about it picks in the first round, and some names come off the board that were unexpected.
Yeah, I don't think there's any bad picks from the first round. Some names that probably weren't on a lot of people's boards, but you know what that means, Danny? A lot of the names that we thought were going to go in the first round are now available in the second round. A lot of value in the second round for the teams with the picks.
Looking ahead to round 2 with some of those unexpected picks in round 1, there's still a ton of talent up for grabs on the board.
Yeah, there certainly is. And there's some names that I had on my board in particular who are still available. It'll be interesting to see if they go. Don't forget, there's also free agency that starts tonight after the draft finishes. So undrafted free agents will also be available for MLR teams to start contacting. So 12 names left, but there's still a lot of talent.
All right, with the 13th overall pick in the MLR draft, the Dallas Jackals choose Levi Van Lanen out of Wisconsin Whitewater. Dan, what is Dallas looking for from Van Lanen?
Well, they've got themselves another outside back, and they've got themselves a guy who is very new to rugby, only started playing in college, which is something that is becoming quite the norm, actually, in the US rugby landscape. He was a wrestler growing up, 3-time state qualifier for wrestling in particular, which, as we know, is a great grounding for rugby. Look no further than former USA number 8 Dan Payne, who's obviously a big name in the USA rugby scene. He was a wrestler. He's a big component of preaching the wrestling background as well. So Dallas, they'll probably play him on the wing. He played a little bit of football as a punter as well, so he's got a leg on him. So probably on the wing, you'll see him get his start, but don't be surprised if he ends up playing in the centres at some point for Dallas.
And with the 14th overall pick, LA's first pick of the draft, they go with Watson Faliki Tonga. Dan, what do you like about this pick?
Oh, I love this pick. I absolutely love this pick. I thought he was a first rounder. He's great. Bruce McLean, our second Iona Gale, comes off the board for the head coach there. And don't forget, his brother Lamoto was also a USA Eagle. So you talk about pedigree, Watson has that pedigree. A little late to rugby, actually didn't like rugby growing up. A little bit of the black sheep of the family, he called himself, but now well and truly ingrained. And I think this is a beautiful pick. And welcome to the league, Los Angeles. Good pick out of the gates for our friends there out in the West Coast.
And with the 15th pick in the MLR draft, Utah goes with Danny Giannoskili. I spoke with him earlier this week, Dan. He said that everything that he's been working for, being drafted, would make it all worth it. And congratulations, Danny. It is all worth it. The third back in the draft for the Warriors. What's the plan with Danny?
Super versatile. Like, this is a guy who initially wasn't on my board when I started looking about 2 months ago when the draft was announced. I was going through a lot of talent, and that's probably because he went to a D2 school. Now, as I've done my research, I've spoken to general managers, this was a name that kept coming up. So I'm like, I've got to go watch this kid. And when I did, I was impressed. He's super versatile. He's a game winner. He's going to get out there. He's going to make things happen. He's a little long-limbed, maybe a little lean at the moment, but he goes out to the Warriors and a good program out there. Don't be surprised if you see him getting some quality minutes for Utah in 2021.
And Dan, that's actually exactly what he told me when we spoke earlier this week. Some adversity he's faced is playing at a D2 school, but he said he's got finesse. And when he used the word finesse, I was sold.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the one-handed Pete Sampras backhand, Pistol Pete, just finesse. And that's what Danny has. He is a finesse player. He reminds me a little bit of Stephen Larkham, the Wallabies fly half. Doesn't look like he's moving fast, he just glides across the field. He could run through a fresh sheet of snow and not leave footprints. That's how he kind of moves around the field. It's a great pickup here. And funny enough, Larkham's old teammate, Chris Latham, is his new head coach at the Utah Warriors.
And with the 16th pick in the MLR draft, Austin selects Mason Koch. Dan, he's a Dartmouth guy heading down south.
Well, Dartmouth is becoming quite the nursery, isn't it, Danny? We've got Nate Brakeley and Ollie Engelhardt already out in the Major League Rugby scene. You know, most fans will be familiar with those names. And he is a multi-sport machine. Like, he played football in the fall, he wrestled, played baseball, went to Dartmouth to play football, and now finds his way to rugby. And the Gilgronis, they may have a winner here. He's going to go down to Austin, play behind Tiana Rasmus at hooker. A lot to learn, and a great teacher there in Tiana Rasmus down with the Gilgronis. So a good pickup here, and add some depth to that front row, which, as we've heard, you need depth in the front row in Major League Rugby, and they get that.
All right, we move on to the 17th pick in the draft. Seattle selects Nicholas Taylor. Dan, how important was drafting Nick Taylor to the Seawolves?
We already talked about it. Depth. Aaron Matthews, it's a depth pick. Their midfield was decimated early this year, and it really showed a glaring weakness in their squad, and they're addressing that. This is really smart work from the management at Seattle, from the coaching staff at Seattle. Taylor's going to go out there, another Lindenwood product, which, as you can see, there is just an absolute galore of Lindenwood players in Major League Rugby. It is really a hotbed for talent in Major League Rugby. Taylor gets to go. He'll learn from Ben Seamer. He'll play behind Ben Seamer. He'll probably wear the 23 most weeks when he's playing, but a great opportunity to go and learn from one of the most talented young fly halves in Seamer. And also, don't forget, Shalom Sunula out there as well. That's a really, really good rugby IQ to be learning from.
All right, the 18th pick in the MLR draft, Spencer Kruger is going to the New England Free Jacks. Dan, he tore his ACL just a year ago. I talked to him about it earlier this week. He said he's really good now. So how can he contribute to the Free Jacks?
It's probably why he has fallen this far down, to be honest. Kruger, probably the ACL, a little bit of concern over how players come back. The product from the Ohio State University, Tom Rooney, has a great program out there. Kruger will come out. He'll be ready to play. Josh Smith is going to have a gamer there in that back row. Again, more depth coming in. I'm sorry, up front. He's going to have more depth up front, and that's what you need in Major League Rugby. We need these big boys up front. You need them fit and firing. And Kruger's going to go out there and really push to make that 23 next year.
Dan, he's been playing for a long time. He started in 7th grade. He said he had a team picture day for football, and the coaches came out and handed out flyers in high school to play rugby. Said he didn't want to play originally because none of his friends were doing it, but it turns out that he loved it. That's how everyone's stories go, right?
Peer pressure, kids. That's the moral. Don't give in to peer pressure. If your friends aren't doing it, playing rugby that is, you should do it. Get out there. Sign up for your college team. This is your future. This is your hope. You could be drafted next year, so it's not too late for all you college students tuning in. Get out there, sign up, play some rugby. It's the greatest sport in the world.
I love it. Up next, the final 6 selections of the historic 2020 Major League Rugby Collegiate Draft. Plus, we'll introduce you to the newest teams to join MLR, Dallas and Los Angeles. You're watching the MLR Draft on FTF. Hey, Hey, welcome to the party, Dallas. We're happy to have you. And with the 19th pick in the MLR draft and their 4th and final pick of tonight, the Utah Warriors select Elijah Hayes. Dan, the Warriors went 3 backs in a row, and now they've selected one of the biggest guys in the draft with Hayes.
Oh, the old question, where's the beef? I'll tell you where it is. It's going to Utah, people. Elijah Hayes is an absolute monster, 6'3", 280, and it's a real 280 pounds. This is a kid who had a full ride to Southeastern Louisiana University to play guard, went to Iowa Central, picked up rugby. He's only in his 3rd year, so just raw potential there. He's going to go out. Sean Pittman, the forwards coach, he is going to have an absolute field day with this guy. Look out, anyone in the Western Conference, because that guy is going to be a handful.
And with the 20th pick in the MLR draft, Atlanta chooses John Scotty. He's a known face to Scott Lawrence, Dan, so this pick makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it certainly does. Scott would have seen this guy for Arkansas State a few times a year as he played against Life University. And he obviously liked what he saw. He's a rough, tough, no-nonsense centre, and he's going to add a lot of value to that Rugby ATL side. I'm excited to see what he does. That midfield was always interchanging, as we know. Head coach Scott Lawrence likes to rest his players, likes to rotate through his players, gives them a lot of minutes, and I think Scotty will fit in really well down there.
All right, this draft is moving right along, Dan. Too fast for my liking. But with the 21st pick in the MLR draft, Dallas selects Bronson Tellis. They stayed home with this pick, Dan, choosing a Texas boy. He's from outside Katy. What is Dallas getting in Tellis?
Well, I'll tell you what they are getting, a game-ready forward. He is a big boy. How big you ask, Danny? So big that the zoning committee in Tucson, Arizona, where he went to college, had to rezone his traps. They were so big. They got their own zip codes on Tellis. He is a monster of a man, and he is physically ready for professional rugby. Can he get down there and can he get after it? We're going to find out soon, but the Dallas Jackals have gone back-to-back with their forwards here, and I like this pick.
Up next, we'll reveal the final 3 picks of the MLR draft and talk with NOLA Gold General Manager Ryan Fitzgerald. But first, let's check in with some Major League Rugby fans on this historic draft night.
On behalf of the Seattle Seawolves fans, welcome to the MLR.
On behalf of the San Diego Legion fans, welcome to the MLR.
On behalf of the Utah Warriors fans, welcome to the MLR. Go Warriors!
On behalf of NOLA Gold Rugby fans, welcome to MLR.
On behalf of the NOLA Gold fans, welcome to MLR. NOLA, NOLA, NOLA.
On behalf of the San Diego Legion fans, welcome to MLR. Go Legion!
Oh man, I love hearing from the Major League Rugby fans, including those incredibly cute kids. Those videos submitted via social media for the draft broadcast. We've already introduced you to Dallas. Now let's get to know the other expansion team this year, Los Angeles.
It's a really exciting opportunity to get to, start a team from scratch, and all the people around the organisation I've met so far and shared conversations with have really got me excited and motivated about their vision and where they want to take the place. It's funny how the rugby world turns, and one minute I'm at Chatswood Oval and next minute I'm in LA. It's an exciting proposition. I know the administrators and the leaders of the club, they want to make sure that they bring a real entertaining brand, not just on the field, with the things that are around the sport and how they'll promote the sport. I guess pitch to a new audience, so that's really exciting. Los Angeles is an amazing city and obviously a mecca for sports, and particularly big American sporting franchises. We'll be a little brother there to begin with, but I'm sure over time the American people are warm to us. They love their body contact sports, and I'm confident we'll be able to give them a winning franchise that they'll enjoy following. And for a young fellow that wanted to come and join a professional rugby team, what an amazing opportunity. We're based out of Santa Monica and Venice Beach there, playing out of the Coliseum, UCLA, USC, big learning institutions and great campuses that we'll be tapping into. So if I was a young fellow these days, and looking for an opportunity. I think LA is the place, not only for the rugby, but for the holistic experience. So it's something that myself, the rest of the staff, and a really important focus point for us is to make sure we give a really well-rounded experience.
First opportunity was to be an assistant coach with the Australian 7 side. Love that, really love the experience of coaching. Always probably felt throughout my playing days that I'd like to coach, and that opportunity came up. As I said, really enjoyed it and get the opportunity to go abroad and be involved in a new side in a young, growing competition. It is exciting being a part of something that's unique, and I really hope that the game day experience is not just rugby. I hope it's a place for families to come and really have a day out like all American sport over there. It's about entertainment, and that's the goal, to be able to go over there and win games of footy, get young kids in LA playing rugby and families enjoying a day out together. I want some senior players over there that are going to go over there with the right attitude to help the locals become better. You just want to go over there and grow the game of rugby and make it an opportunity for young kids over there to leave primary school, to look at a college and think, I want to go to a college that plays, and more importantly, to have success, to start selling out stadiums and make it a venue for not just, your sewn-on rugby fan that's your traditional 50 and over. You want kids going with mums and dads. You want them to be able to enjoy a day out of the rugby.
We are down to our last 3 picks of tonight. The very first MLR draft, Dan. It's gone by way too fast, but no one wants to listen to me talk anymore. Let's get to it. Going 22nd overall to Los Angeles, Stephen McLeish. He's out of Lindenwood University, Dan, from my great state of Missouri.
Yeah, the second line to go tonight, and the milkman. He finds himself off to Los Angeles. Very versatile. Didn't grow up playing a lot of rugby, a bit of a multi-sport athlete. Parents were Australian, so he knows the game quite well. Now, he will go out to Los Angeles, a franchise that is building, and it'll be interesting to see where they use him because, like I said, a little bit of time at hooker, a little bit of time through the back row as well. McLeish has it all ahead of him with Los Angeles. Excited to see him in 2021.
Okay, our last 2 picks, Dan. Old Glory DC selects Matthew Gordon. The Old Glory Scottish connection is strong in this pick, Dan.
Yeah, the Glasgow Warriors product out of the academy there, 6'5", 245. I've mentioned steal a few times already. I think Old Glory actually may have got the steal of the draft. How did Matt Gordon fall to 23? That's what I want to know. He was one of the top-rated prospects coming out. He is ready to step on the field week 1, 2021. Old Glory get another one to add to that forward pack. Man, that back line was electric this year. DTS, Renata, Tanana Roberts, Robinson, Tusitala. Now you add a big forward pack. They're starting to fix up their scrum a little bit. Look out. Old Glory. Champions in 2021? Maybe.
All right, and with the final pick in this historic MLR draft, San Diego selects Cole Zarconi. Last but not least, Zarconi stays on the West Coast, Dan, and trades the Redwoods of Washington for the beaches of San Diego.
It's just not a tough trade. Ellensburg up there where Central Washington is to San Diego. I think Cole will be very happy with that change. Football player at Central Washington, went to the Wildcats to play football, ends up falling in love with rugby. Football's lost, rugby's gained. Zach Test has an absolute finisher to put on the wings here. He's got 2 great Fijian flyers in Toto Vasau and Patterson. Add Zarconi into that, and he's got a real gamer. Love this pick from San Diego to round out the draft, Danny.
We'd now like to welcome the GM of NOLA Gold, Ryan Fitzgerald, to the show. Ryan, congratulations on the number 2 draft pick, Brian Nault. I know that you traded up with Los Angeles to get this pick. How did you decide to do that?
We saw an opportunity that we had with some extra available foreigner slots open that we thought that it would be a really good opportunity to get there with Los Angeles. I knew that they were seeking that. Brian Nault is an outstanding player. Just fits everything that we're looking for. Obviously, in the United States, can't get enough front rows. We had an outstanding turnout this year with our front row that we did have, finishing 97% in first. And I think the guys that we're bringing in Brian around those guys will really be huge for our success, not only just this year but also for the future.
Fitzy, first of all, I love the pick. Great player. One of my highest ranked players in the draft was Brian Nault. You mentioned that front row. It had a great 2020 in the abbreviated season. Where do you see Brian fitting in that front row?
Yeah, he just fits everything that we're looking for, character-wise, toughness, his skill set. He's extremely coachable. Obviously, he does outstanding in the weight room, but his character and everything about him, just a perfect fit for us. And the guys that we already have, like I said, I think that he comes in and he immediately looking to contribute, looking to compete. He's not a guy that shies away from competition, so he knows that he's going to come in here. He's going to learn from the guys around him that have been capped, the Dino Waldrons and the Ben Tarr, Matty Harmon, Kevin Sullivan, Cam Falcon, John Sullivan, all the guys that right up here. He's going to come in there and compete and get along with them well. And like I said, we're looking forward to that competition as soon as he can get here.
Now, Fitzy, the process of selecting Brian, how early on did you and Nate Osborne, the head coach down there, have your eyes set on Brian, or was it a last-minute thing? We know you were pretty active trading throughout the draft to move up to get him.
Yeah, I mean, initially, right when we did make the move and make the trade with LA, it wasn't 100%, see how everything falls in place. But Brian's been, obviously a player, well-known. Obviously, he's had great success at Central Washington. He's won every accolade and award there. Obviously, his character and everything that he gets is Athlete of the Year there. However, like I said, the entire process, and then obviously talking to his coach, Todd Thornley, he just checked all the boxes for us. We got a chance to meet him, interview him, had lengthy conversations with him, and that pretty much sealed it for us. And like I said, especially the position specific that Brian plays with the front row here in the United States and in the league, it all starts up front. No matter where you play in rugby, it always starts up front with the front row, and can't get enough of them. And I think he comes into, like I said, a great environment and a great front row, and that fraternity of brotherhood that they have in the front row. He'll have great success with us. So really looking forward to getting him here.
Ryan, we're so grateful for your insights. Thank you for your time. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, we're not done just yet on the Major League Rugby Draft Show. We'll recap all the picks and hear from Utah Warriors Director of Rugby, Brandon Sparks.
On behalf of Rugby fans, welcome to the MLR.
On behalf of the back-to-back champs, welcome to the MLR.
MLR fans, you are the best in the country. There is no doubt about that. Let's recap the draft for you. Here's how the first round went down. The Dallas Jackals chose Connor Mooneyham from Life with the first overall pick. That was followed by NOLA taking Brian Nault from Central Washington at number 2. And Utah taking Derek Ellingson from St. Mary's. There were some surprises in here. Also of note, Expansion Dallas also had the 9th overall pick, acquired on Friday from New York, which they used to pick Tommy Clark from AIC. Here's the second round. Dallas at 13 tabbed Levi Van Lanen from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Los Angeles made its first ever picks in Watson Feliki-Tonga from Iona and Stephen McLeish out of Lindenwood. Utah at 15, in a pick acquired from Houston, went with Loyola Maryland's Danny Gianniscali. If you'd like to know more about Major League Rugby, here's how you can follow the league. The website is majorleague.rugby. On YouTube, it's USMLR. And then on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, you can follow at USMLR. All right, Dan, I'm feeling excited, invigorated, just really proud of everything that has happened tonight. More than 400 players who declared all the way down to 24. The growth of the league has continued to shine with Dallas and Los Angeles. And now these players have a legitimate pathway to Major League Rugby, being U.S. collegiate players. And there are so many people who worked on this show and worked on this draft, and we're so grateful for them. And we hope the fans at home had a great time. Dan, who do you feel like were the biggest winners tonight?
Well, first things first, Danny, I want to thank you, Commissioner George Killebrew. Quick shout out to Aaron Castro, did a lot of work in the background for both of us getting ready for this draft. I think everyone's a winner. I really do. I think the first draft is now done, and 24 players will have an opportunity to earn professional contracts next year in Major League Rugby. And I think that's fantastic. If I had to pick some sides, I'm going to go with the two teams that ended up having the most picks. I think the Utah Warriors and the Dallas Jackals came out with a lot of talent from this draft, and probably because they had 2 more picks than the majority of the sides. But I really feel they went and got the best players available at their picks, and in terms of ceilings, the highest ceilings on some of the players they picked as well. So no losers. I won't go full NFL on that one, but everyone's a winner. Excited. Thanks again for having us, Danny. Thanks again for the fans for tuning in. It's been a great night and I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Dan, I had a blast with you. Thank you for being such a rock star. And congratulations to all the players and their families. We will see you all in 2021.